Leinster made to work by Must Change Sale at the RDS. Mine is Mark. Let's talk rugby. It's Sale applying pressure early on in this one. Lineout is giving them a decent platform. They're finding half gaps, but they spill the ball in contact a few metres short of the line. But then we do have a TMO check. Results in a yellow card for Robbie Henshaw, because he's the one that actually caused the knock on, the spill ball there, as he was grabbing, was it Vianu's arm just before he caught the ball. It looked maybe, you know, I'm a Leinster fan, so maybe a little bit of bias, but it did look a little bit harsh for a yellow card. It was certainly a penalty. Then Dupree pops that over, and it's 3-0 to Sale. Leinster then win a scrum penalty, and they go to the corner. Leinster were on top in the scrum for pretty much the entire game. Sale did win the odd penalty in the scrum, but it was, you know, mostly one-way traffic in that regard. Leinster then secured the line out. They spread it. Sale are offside. Leinster decide then to tap the penalty. There's a big pile up on the line, and then Josh van der Fleer picks it and grounds under the mound of bodies. But we then have a TMO check, and we see that Ryan Baird actually knocked the ball on in the build up to the try, so it's no try. Crowd aren't happy with the referee at this stage, but it's a correct decision, so you can't really give him too much stick. And, you know, I thought he had a decent game. Leinster then absolutely destroy Sale in the scrum. Clarkson getting plenty of pats on the back. Penalty to Leinster. And it's good to see him coming through, because I felt last year that Porter and Furlong for Leinster, they're just allowed to come back in for European games and not really having anyone properly pushing them. So hopefully this year we see a bit more of, you know, a bit more kind of players being allowed to come into the first team, because I felt like it was a closed shop really last year. So let's see how that actually progresses. But yeah, he gets all the pats for that. Leinster then, they tap again. Baird drives over, but he's very upright and he gets held up over the line, and it's a real let off for Sale there. They do continue though to apply pressure. They win another penalty. Sale got a warning, and then Frawley slots the penalty for 3-3. Leinster then are offside almost immediately after the start, and Dupree puts Sale back in front, 6.3. Leinster then, though, they win a penalty, but you know, it's a great position for them as well. It's just at the edge of the 22. You know, decent attacking position, but line out is crooked. And then Sale win a rare penalty at the scrum as well. And you know, at this stage they're defending really well, and they're really frustrating Leinster. And you can see that basically their idea is they're off the line very quickly, and they got kind of an umbrella thing where they're kind of, you know, folding from outside in to try and limit Leinster's ability to go wide, and also to try and catch them as well behind the gain line, and that's working really well early on. And you know, having defended for such a long period, they do actually strike themselves. So we have a lovely kick in behind, a little grubber from Dupree. It's collected, and then Doherty is released, and he goes away from just about halfway under the post to score. Dupree converts, and it's 13-3. Sale lead, and you feel like Leinster really need some kind of response, and they do win another scrum penalty. Sale get another warning, this time for you know, it was one of the props. Who was it? What's the guy's name? Harper or something like that, I think his name is. But then Frawley, he slots a penalty, but you still feel like, you know, more is needed from Leinster. 13-6. But Sale then, who produce a real moment of danger, and you know, they're close to that Leinster line, and there's only a decent strip between them, you know, stopping them basically getting over to potentially score, or at least, you know, put pressure on and win a penalty. And yeah, decent scramble defence from Leinster, which we expect at this stage. Then Leinster win another scrum penalty, and it's Harper again. He goes to the bin. And then, Leinster finally find a bit of a spark. Frawley provides it. He executes a nice wraparound move and then gives a peach of a pass out to Sheehan, who breaks into 22. Leinster then win a penalty for a high tackle, as they're just stretching that Sale defence. And then Josh van der Fleer, he gets over to score. Frawley misses the conversion, and Sale lead 13-11 at half time. But Leinster do what we often see them do, and they score just before half time, and then they complete their usual set where they score then just after half time as well. This time they break down the left, and Jameson Gibson Park, he does really well under pressure to finish in the corner. The conversion is missed again, but it's 16-11, and suddenly Leinster have hit the front. And they do that so many times to teams who feel like they're in the game, and it's kind of a 1-2 combo. Try just before half time, try just after half time. It completely swings the momentum of the game. Leinster start to turn the screw. Josh van der Fleer has been to the fore. He had a great game, especially in the second half. Doris a little bit quiet in the first half. He was better. I thought the second rows as well. McCarthy and Ryan both had good games, although Ryan for some reason got on the wrong side of the referee, because the referee told him, like, after about 15 minutes, I'm not talking to you, I'm only talking to 13, so Gary Ringrose. So I don't know what happened there with him, but certainly referee didn't want to talk to him. But from here then, Johnny Hill, he concedes a penalty, and Leinster kick it into the 22. They go through some phases. They're battering away at the Sale line. They force a penalty for offside. They go to the corner. Ryan, he collects the line out. Sheehan then batters his way towards the line. He's just about a metre short. Few recycles later, then Henshaw goes over under the posts to score. Then we have a great carry from James Ryan, as Leinster beginning just to find more holes in that Sale defence, but then James Gibson Park knocks on close to the line. Leinster, though, they're threatening the Sale line again. Natai with just a lovely carry and offload to Henshaw, who goes close for a second. A few phases later, then Baird goes over on, Baird grounds on the line. He basically, it was, kind of move you'd normally see a scrum half doing, where just opportunistic, grab the ball at the back of ruck and then place it down on the line. But it was just the pressure of the Leinster attack, really. Frawley converts this, and it's 30 points to 13 at this stage. Bonus point is secured for Leinster. Sale then have a period of pressure in possession, but they get held up over the line, and we feel like the game is beginning to slip away from them after such a great first half from them. Leinster back on the attack. Cian Healy gets over for a try. We do have a team overview for a possible neck roll by Al Alatoa, but there's nothing conclusive, so it stands. Sam Prendergast is now on for his European debut, and he scores his first points as he converts. It's 37-13, and it looks like it's heading towards the scoreline most people expected when they heard, what squad was travelling for Sale. But fair play to Sale, like, they're really game in this. And, I think the final scoreline kind of reflects a little bit more on how they played in the game. But from here then, Keenan, he gets a yellow card for taking out Reid. As basically Reid was put the hammer down. He's out on the wing. He's chasing down a kick in behind, and Keenan just completely took him out. So I think it was a deserved yellow card. Sale go to the corner, and then they rumble over from the maul. Dupree converts, and it's 37-20, and it was looking like that was going to be the final score, because like a minute left. But then there's still time for Sale to get yet another try. They break from their own half. Reid again showing his pace down that wing. And then he's got so many options on his inside. He picks out Curtis, who goes over under the post, is converted, and the final score is 37-27. You know, so it's a bonus point win for Leinster. It's still, we haven't seen Leinster hitting anywhere near top gear this year at all. Like they've looked, you know, yeah, certainly not at the best, but they're winning even though they're not playing great, which is a decent sign for a team. But that only works really if they can then later on in the tournament click into those higher gears and be able to produce what they couldn't produce in the last 2 years, which would be a winning performance in the final. But there's tons of time to go for then. Like, you know, it's potentially Leinster, you know, they're through to the knockout stages now, but it could be eliminated in the round of 16 for all we know. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But let's have a look at some of the stats. I'm not going to put the stats up on the screen because, you know, it's kind of, for me, it's late on a Friday night, or sorry, Saturday night, because I've got work in the morning, and I've actually got to basically, as soon as I'm finished of recording this, it's a shower, let this render, and then get it up and then go to bed. So, you know, I can't be mucking about with adding extra titles to my thing because it just takes ages. Anyway, back to what I was saying. We're going to look at some of the stats. So tries, 5 tries to 3 for Leinster. It was 5-1 at one stage, and then the last 2 minutes, you know, Sale get to 2, but I think they deserve the 3 tries out of the game. Then the kicking success, 42% for Leinster. Like, you know, Frawley not really getting those touchline kicks as much. 58% for Sale, which in the first half had them kind of just nudging ahead, but you know, in the shake up in the end didn't really matter that much. Meters made then 384 for Leinster, 458 for Sale, but Sale put a lot of those meters up in scoring those last 2 tries. Like, you know, basically both of them, you know, the chance to kick to the corner came from a break from their own half, which is about 60 meters of a break, and then the final try was like length of the field, so 100 meters on that as well. So it would have been, you know, much closer than that other for those last 2 tries, but again, Sale deserve credit for that. I don't know why it says 0 carries each. We're just going to ignore that. Clean breaks 9 each. Again, a lot of Sales ones coming towards the end, but they did put pressure on the Leinster defence in the early half, but a lot of, or the first half, sorry, but a lot of their work really was defensively, and their defence really was good. They made it really hard for Leinster to get into a rhythm, and they have to get credit for that. It's not just a case of Leinster not you know, getting into top gear. It was the fact that Sale's display didn't allow them to get anywhere near top gear. Defenders beaten then 23 for Leinster, 14 for Sale. I thought Natai had great impact when he came on. It's a real pity that he went off just before the end with it looked like maybe a twisted knee or something like that. We'll have to see what that is, but it didn't look good for him at least. Passes then 194 to 82. Leinster, you know, just holding on to that ball. And you can see that with territory was 63% to 37. Leinster, you know, just kind of incessant with that. Tackles then 101 for Leinster, 191 for Sale. Tackle percentage 88 to 89. Decent performance from both defence. You know, again, Leinster with shooters and with scramble, and then Sale had more of that kind of smothering, quick off the line type of defence as well, but both were pretty effective. Turnovers 1 then 7 for Leinster, 4 for Sale. I thought Van der Fleer had a great, you know, impact at the breakdown, winning those turnovers for them. Lineouts then 10 to 11 in terms of 91% success for Leinster, 85 for Sale. So Leinster getting on top of that one, which is great because Sale have been excellent in their lineout all through the year. So, you know, decent for Leinster because we've seen their lineout struggle in the URC this season. So, you know, hopefully they can build on that and it's not just a one-off performance. Scrums won then 5-4. But scrum success 83% for Leinster, 67% for Sale. Doesn't really tell the whole story though, because Leinster, as I said, were, you know, they were on it for pretty much the whole game, and that was a great platform for them in terms of winning penalties and then getting into position. And I think that's probably what, as much as we're going to look at in terms of the stats. But then in terms of the two performances, said Leinster, they didn't hit the heights, but you can see like flashes from, you know, we talked about Van der Fleer, Doris, McCarthy and Ryan were good. Baird in patches, but I still think, you know, he just feels like there's something missing from his game, in terms of just being that, you know, being a player who puts his hand up and says that, you know, I deserve, like when we've got a full team out and everybody's available, I deserve to be starting. He still feels a bit more like an impact player from the bench, but while he is starting, he's still doing a decent job. He just needs to kind of add one or two little things or tidy up one or two things, you know, in his game as well. He got held up, he over the line, sorry, then he knocked on as well just before that, when, you know, he knew he was going to be the recipient. So yeah, just a little bit tidy up maybe for him. I think, like, I really admire him. I think he's a great player, but yeah, I just feel like he needs something. I'm not sure what it is, but just to elevate himself up to that next level. But then Todd Frawley was excellent at 10. He really did push the envelope in terms of, you know, getting right up into Sale's faces and ping those passes in front of them and tempting them, you know, to dart out and try and intercept. But his passing was so good as well. I'm sure, you know, people will do video analysis and he might start getting picked off because of that. But that's the kind of thing, you know, happens to the best of them. Anyway, thought Sheehan was probably the best Leinster player in the first half. Keenan was decent without being spectacular. Then Larmour on the wing had, you know, a good performance, but, you know, again, it's kind of with him, it's that he gives you a lot of good stuff, but then there can be, like, you know, one or two negatives with it if he gets isolated or stuff like that. But I thought he was decent tonight. Jimmy O'Brien as well on the other wing. Ringrose, there were times when I thought he was going to find space in attack, and he almost did. He made a couple of half breaks, but, you know, nothing amazing. I thought when Natai come on, himself and Henshaw were a decent partnership there in the middle as well. So it's good to see, you know, players being able to come in, as I said before, and have impact. You know, for Sale, I thought Dupree was excellent. Reid with his pace as well was a real handful for Leinster, and just overall, you know, their defensive effort across the whole team, including the bench as well, to really frustrate Leinster, and then they took the chances that they got really well too. But in the end, it's a bonus point win for Leinster and no match points for Sale, which most people expected, but Sale still have to take a lot of credit for that performance.